The Miami sun beats down on my hungover face as I scroll through my phone, trying to piece together last night. 47 missed calls from David. 18 text messages, each more frantic than the last. 3 voicemails I can't bring myself to listen to yet. My so-called friends are still asleep around the pool, sprawled on lounge chairs like casualties of war. Empty champagne bottles litter the deck of our rental house. Someone's bikini top floats in the hot tub. The smell of stale alcohol and coconut sunscreen makes my stomach churn. This was supposed to be a celebration. My last hurrah before settling into married life. Instead, it became the ammunition for my divorce. I should call David, explain, apologize. Beginning. But first, I need to remember exactly what needs explaining. My phone buzzes, another text from him. I saw the videos, Samantha. We're done. Videos, plural. My hands shake as I open Instagram. And there it is, posted for our 800 mutual friends to see. Me on top of the bar at Mango's, pouring tequila into some shirtless stranger's mouth. Me grinding against the same stranger on the dance floor while my bridesmaids cheer. Me stumbling out of the club at 4 a.m, my wedding ring conspicuously absent from my finger. But it's the last video that seals my fate. The one where I'm clearly heard saying, "What David doesn't know won't hurt him," before disappearing into a cab with someone who definitely isn't my husband. The thing is, David warned me about this trip. We'd been fighting about it for weeks before I left. "I don't understand why you need a bachelorette party," he'd said, confusion written all over his face. "We've been married for 6 years. "It's not a bachelorette party," I'd corrected him, rolling my eyes at his inability to grasp basic concepts. "It's a girls' trip. Lindsay's getting divorced, Mia just got promoted, and Jess is turning 35. We're celebrating." "By going to Miami? The same place you went for your actual bachelorette party? So maybe a bunch of married women in their 30s shouldn't be acting like college kids on spring break." I'd laughed in his face. Actually laughed. "God, when did you become such an old man? I'm going to Miami for 4 days with my best friends. It's not a big deal." "Sam, every time you hang out with those women you come home different, meaner, like you're disappointed in your actual life. That's ridiculous." "Is it? Remember after Jess's birthday in Vegas? You didn't speak to me for 3 days because our house didn't have a pool like the hotel. That was... Or after Mia's promotion dinner when you suddenly decided I wasn't ambitious enough because I didn't want to work 80-hour weeks. You're being dramatic." But he wasn't being dramatic. He was being accurate. Every time I spent extended time with my old sorority sisters, I came home restless and resentful. They were all single or freshly divorced, with high-powered careers and designer wardrobes and stories about their latest romantic conquests. Meanwhile, I was married to a high school history teacher who thought a wild Friday night meant trying a new pizza place. I met David 7 years ago at a charity 5K in Columbus. I was there for the free mimosas at the finish line. He was there because he actually cared about raising money for literacy programs. He should have known then that we were fundamentally incompatible. But David saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Or maybe he just saw what he wanted to see. Either way, he pursued me with this steady, unwavering confidence that was so different from the players I usually dated. "You know there's more to life than parties and shopping," he'd said on our 3rd date. "Like what?" I'd asked, genuinely curious. "Like building something real with someone. Like having a partner who knows you better than you know yourself. Like creating a life that matters." I'd been 28 then, tired of the club scene, watching all my friends get engaged. David offered stability, security. The kind of love my mother always said I should want, so I convinced myself I wanted it too. Our wedding was beautiful. 200 guests at the Columbus Museum of Art. My dress cost $8,000. The flowers alone were $3,000. David had wanted something smaller, more intimate, but I'd insisted on the spectacle. "It's our special day," I'd said. We should celebrate properly. Every day with you is special, he'd replied, and I'd had to resist the urge to gag at the cheesiness. That should have been my first clue that we wanted different things. The early years weren't terrible. David was exactly who he'd promised to be: steady, reliable, devoted. He cooked dinner every night because he said he loved watching me enjoy his food. He planned thoughtful date nights around my interests, even though I knew he'd rather be home reading. He told me I was beautiful every single morning, even when I woke up cranky and bloated. The problem was he never changed, never evolved, never surprised me. My friends would complain about their boyfriends being inconsistent or playing games, and I'd nod along sympathetically, secretly dying inside from boredom. Where was my drama? Where was my excitement? Where were the stories I could share over cocktails? "You're so lucky," Lindsay would sigh. "David's like a unicorn." "I guess," I'd reply, downing my martini a little too fast. The girls' trip started 3 years into our marriage. Just weekend getaways at first. Spa trips to Scottsdale, wine tasting in Napa. David never complained, even though I knew he spent those weekends alone, grading papers and watching documentaries. "Have fun," he'd say, kissing me goodbye. "You deserve some time with your friends." But the trips got longer and wilder. The spa weekends turned into Vegas benders. The wine tastings became club crawls, and each time I came home, it was harder to pretend I was happy with our quiet life. "Maybe we should plan a trip together," David suggested after one particularly debauched weekend in Nashville. "When's the last time just the two of us went somewhere?" "We went to your parents' for Thanksgiving." "That doesn't count." "Why not?" "Because visiting my mother isn't a vacation, Sam. I'm talking about something romantic. Maybe Paris? You've always wanted to go." "Paris is expensive." "So was your weekend in Nashville." I saw the credit card bill. I'd stormed off after that, accusing him of being controlling and monitoring my spending. The truth was, I'd dropped $1,500 on bottle service and didn't want to face the reality of our finances. David taught at a public school. He made $48,000 a year. I worked part-time at a boutique, more for the employee discount than the paycheck. We lived in a modest 3-bedroom ranch in the suburbs. It was a perfectly nice life, a perfectly average life, the kind of life millions of people would kill for. But my friends lived different lives. Mia had just made partner at her law firm. Lindsay's divorce settlement included a $2 million house and enough alimony to never work again. Jess dated hedge fund managers and tech entrepreneurs who flew her to Cabo on private jets. And then there was me, married to a man who thought splurging meant ordering an appetizer at Applebee's. The resentment built slowly, like water damage you don't notice until the ceiling caves in. I started picking fights about stupid things. His clothes, his hobbies, his friends. Nothing was ever good enough anymore. "You're changing," he said one night after I'd spent an hour berating him for wearing a Star Wars t-shirt to the grocery store. "People are supposed to change," I shot back. "It's called growth." "This isn't growth, Sam. This is you becoming someone I don't recognize." "Maybe you never really knew me." The hurt in his eyes should have stopped me, should have made me realize I was destroying something precious. Instead, it just annoyed me. Why was he so sensitive? Why couldn't he fight back? Why didn't he ever get mad? The Miami trip planning started 2 months ago. Lindsay's divorce had just been finalized, and she wanted to celebrate her freedom in style. 5 days, 4 nights, a house on South Beach, VIP tables at the hottest clubs. "I don't know," I'd said half-heartedly. "David and I have been having some issues." "All the more reason to come," Mia insisted. "You need some fun in your life." "Remember fun?" "When's the last time David took you dancing?" Jess added. "David doesn't dance." "Exactly. So come with us, let loose. What happens in Miami stays in Miami." Famous last words. I told David about the trip over dinner, casual as could be, like it was already decided. "Miami?" He set down his fork. "For 5 days? It's Lindsay's divorce celebration." "Isn't that what the Nashville trip was for?" That was her separation celebration. This is different. Sam, we just talked about saving money for a house renovation. It's already paid for. Lindsay's treating. That was a lie. Lindsay was covering the house, but everything else, flights, food, drinks, shopping, would go on our already strained credit cards. It's not about the money, David said quietly. It's about the fact that every time you go on one of these trips, you come back hating our life a little more. That's not true. You spent a week after Nashville looking at apartments downtown you know we can't afford. I was just browsing. You told me you were embarrassed to bring your friends to our house. I never said that. You said exactly that, Sam. Word for word. He was right. I had said that. After seeing Lindsay's new condo with its floor-to-ceiling windows and marble countertops, our 70-year-old ranch felt like a prison. I'm going to Miami, I said, ending the discussion. I'm a grown woman. I don't need your permission. I'm not trying to give you permission. I'm trying to save our marriage. From what? From me having friends? From me having a life outside this house? From you forgetting what matters. And what matters, David? Sitting on the couch every Friday night, watching you grade papers, pretending to be excited about another dinner at your parents', acting like our mediocre life is some great achievement? The word mediocre hung in the air between us like a blade. I watched it cut him, saw the exact moment his face changed from concern to defeat. Is that really how you see our life? He asked. I should have taken it back. Should have apologized. Should have remembered all the ways he made our life anything but mediocre. The surprise picnics, the handwritten love notes in my lunch bag, the way he still looked at me like I was the most beautiful woman in the world even when I was being ugly inside. Instead, I doubled down. I'm going to Miami. End of discussion. He didn't bring it up again. For 2 weeks, he acted normal, still cooking dinner, still asking about my day, still kissing me goodnight. But something had shifted. He stopped saying, I love you first, stopped planning weekend activities, stopped trying to pull me back to the life we'd built together. The night before I left, he made one last attempt. I have a bad feeling about this trip, he said as I packed my suitcase with clothes more appropriate for a 21-year-old than a 34-year-old married woman. You always have bad feelings about my trips. This one's different. You're different. It's like you're already gone. Don't be so dramatic. He sat on our bed, watching me fold bikinis and mini dresses. Do you still love me, Sam? The question caught me off guard. What kind of question is that? A simple one. Do you still love me? Of course I do. Then why does it feel like you're running away from me? From us? I'm not running anywhere. I'm going on a girls' trip. Jesus, David, not everything is about you. He stood up, walked to the door, then turned back. You know what the saddest part is? I don't think you even remember why you married me anymore. For the stability, I said without thinking. For the security. His face crumbled. Wow, okay, at least now I know. He slept in the guest room that night. In the morning, he was already gone when I left for the airport. No goodbye kiss, no have fun, no be safe. Just a note on the counter. I'll be here when you get back. I hope you will be too. I should have known then. Should have canceled the trip, crawled into the guest bed with him, begged for forgiveness. Instead, I threw the note away and called an Uber. The first 2 days in Miami were everything I'd wanted. Sun, sand, endless champagne, men who looked at us like we were prizes to be won. We were the fun table at every restaurant, the VIPs at every club. For 48 hours, I forgot I was a married woman living a mediocre life in Columbus. I was just Sam, the life of the party, the girl everyone wanted to be around. The trouble started on night 3. We were at some club in the design district, $2,000 deep in bottle service, when a group of guys joined our table. Young guys. Finance bros from New York celebrating a bachelor party. The kind of guys I used to date before David. All surface charm and expensive watches. One of them, Tyler, zeroed in on me immediately. "You can't be single," he said, eyeing me up and down. "Someone like you is definitely taken." I held up my left hand, wedding ring catching the strobe lights. 6 years. Happily? The correct answer was yes. The married answer was yes. The decent human being answer was yes. "It's complicated," I said instead. That was all the encouragement Tyler needed. For the rest of the night, he was glued to my side, buying drinks, whispering in my ear, pulling me onto the dance floor where his hands went places they shouldn't. "Your husband's a lucky man," he said at one point, his breath hot against my neck. "He doesn't feel lucky," I heard myself say. "He feels bored." "Then he's an idiot." My friends were cheering us on, living vicariously through my flirtation. Lindsay kept buying rounds of shots. Mia was documenting everything on her Instagram story. Jess actually high-fived me when Tyler's hand slid down to my ass during a particularly grinding song. That's when I should have stopped. Should have remembered David at home, probably asleep on the couch with his book still open, waiting for my goodnight text that never came. But I didn't stop. I let Tyler buy me drinks. I let him pull me closer. I let myself pretend, just for one night, that I was single and free and had no one to answer to. The videos tell the rest of the story. My ring disappearing into my purse, my tongue in Tyler's mouth, my hand in his as we stumbled toward the exit. What the videos don't show is what happened in the cab. How Tyler tried to kiss me again and I suddenly saw David's face. How I pushed him away, slurring that I needed to go home. How he called me a tease and got out at the next light. How I spent the rest of the ride crying and trying to call David, who didn't answer because it was 4 a.m. and he was asleep like a normal person. What the videos don't show is me stumbling into our rental house, mascara streaming down my face, trying to explain to my friends that I'd made a terrible mistake. How they laughed and said I hadn't done anything wrong, just had a little fun. How Lindsay poured me another drink and said this was exactly what I needed. How I passed out on the bathroom floor, clutching my phone, David's contact photo lighting up the screen. Now it's morning and the damage is done. The internet is forever. My marriage, apparently, is not. I finally work up the courage to call David. He answers on the first ring. "I'm packing your things," he says without preamble. "Your sister can pick them up next week." "David, please let me explain." "Explain what?" "How you took off your wedding ring? How you let some stranger grope you in public? How you left the club with him?" "Nothing happened." "I came home alone." "That's not the point, Sam. The point is you wanted something to happen. The point is you've been wanting something to happen for years. That's not true. I'm done lying to myself. You don't want this life. You don't want me. You made that crystal clear. It was just dancing. Just stupid drunk dancing. With your wedding ring in your purse." I close my eyes. "I'm sorry." "No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there's video evidence. You're sorry you have to face consequences. But you're not sorry for hurting me." He's right. I'm not sorry for the act itself. Some sick part of me is still riding the high of being desired by someone new. The attention, the excitement, the fantasy of a different life. "I'll come home early," I offer weakly. "We can talk." "Don't. Stay in Miami with your friends. Enjoy the rest of your trip. God knows it cost enough." "What's that supposed to mean?" "I saw the credit card charges, Sam. $3,000 in 2 days. Were you planning to tell me about that? Lindsay was supposed to what? Pay you back? Like she paid you back for Nashville, for Vegas, for all the other trips where you maxed out our cards pretending to be someone you're not? I am who I am. No, you're who you think they want you to be. And the saddest part is they don't even really like you. They like the show you put on. They like having a married woman in their group who makes them feel better about their own messy lives. That's not... Mia called me, Sam, 2 hours ago. She wanted to make sure I knew nothing really happened with that guy. She felt guilty about posting the videos. Said she was drunk and thought it was funny but realized it looked worse than it was. My heart sinks. Mia called him, guilt finally catching up with her now that the party's over. She also told me this isn't the first time. Nashville. Vegas. That conference in Dallas you said was for work. Apparently, taking off your ring and flirting with strangers is your thing. David, I'm done, Sam. I've been done for a while, I think. I just loved you too much to admit it. You can't throw away 6 years over one mistake. It's not one mistake. It's a pattern. It's who you've become. Or maybe it's who you always were and I was just too blind to see it. I'll change. I'll stop seeing them. You'll what? Pretend to be happy with our mediocre life? That's what you called it, right? Mediocre? The word hangs between us again, across 1,000 miles, still sharp enough to cut. I didn't mean that. Yes, you did. And you know what? You're right. Our life is mediocre. I teach high school, you work retail, we live in a small house in Ohio. We can't afford bottle service or designer clothes or trips to Miami. By your standards, by your friends' standards, we are absolutely mediocre. David, but here's what you never understood, Sam. I loved our mediocre life. I loved our Friday pizza nights and our Sunday morning farmers market runs. I loved teaching you to cook and watching you get excited when you nailed a recipe. I loved our stupid inside jokes and our couples game night with the neighbors you thought were boring. I loved building something real with you, something that mattered more than Instagram posts or VIP tables. Tears streamed down my face. Not pretty tears, ugly, snotty, choking tears. I loved you, he continues. Not the party girl. Not the Instagram version. You, the real you, the one who cried during dog food commercials, the one who secretly loved my mom's casseroles even though you pretended they were too heavy, the one who used to look at me like I was your whole world. You are. No, I'm not. I haven't been for a long time. Your world is designer handbags and expensive champagne and friends who enable your worst impulses. Your world is pretending to be someone you're not because you're terrified of who you really are. That's not fair. You're right. It's not fair. It's not fair that I spent 6 years trying to love someone who was ashamed of the life we built. It's not fair that I gave you everything I had and it was never enough. It's not fair that you threw away our marriage for 4 days in Miami. I'll come home. Right now. I'll fix this. There's nothing to fix, Sam. You can't fix something that was never whole to begin with. The line goes quiet. I can hear him breathing, can picture him standing in our kitchen, probably still in his pajamas, coffee getting cold on the counter. For what it's worth, he says finally, I hope you find what you're looking for. I hope the parties and the attention and the excitement fill whatever void you're trying to fill. I hope it's worth it. David, please. Your things will be in the garage. Leave your key in the mailbox. He hangs up. I sit by the pool, phone in my hand, listening to the dial tone until it turns to that harsh, busy signal. Around me, Miami continues its relentless celebration. Music from a nearby hotel, laughter from the beach, the sound of my friends starting to stir, probably ready for bottomless mimosas and more bad decisions. Morning, party girl. Lindsay emerges, sunglasses on, looking remarkably fresh for someone who drank her body weight in champagne. Hair of the dog? I look at her, really look at her. Designer swimsuit on a body maintained by Pilates and expensive procedures. Perfect nails that cost more than David's monthly car payment. A smile that never quite reaches her eyes because happiness can't be bought, no matter how hard she tries. This is who I've been trying to become. This is who I destroyed my marriage to emulate. David's divorcing me, I say. Her face falls. What? Why? Nothing even happened with that guy. It doesn't matter. Of course it matters. We'll call him together. Explain it was just harmless fun. Mia already talked to him. It wasn't harmless. And it wasn't fun. It was cruel. Sam Dash. He made me soup when I was sick. Did I ever tell you that? Homemade soup from scratch, his grandmother's recipe, and I complained it was too salty. Lindsay looks confused. Okay. He learned to ballroom dance because I mentioned once that I thought it was romantic. Took lessons in secret for 3 months to surprise me on our anniversary. And I laughed at him, said he looked silly. Sam, what are you... He saved every movie ticket from our dates. Every one. Had them in a box in his closet. Was planning to make a collage for our 10-year anniversary. I found them last month and told him to throw them away. Said they were just cluttering up the closet. You're spiraling. Here, let me make you a drink. I don't want a drink. The words come out as a scream. I want my husband. I want my mediocre life in my mediocre house with my mediocre husband who loved me more than I deserved. Lindsay backs away, hands raised. Okay, let's just calm down. But I can't calm down. The truth is crashing over me in waves, each one threatening to pull me under. I scroll through my phone, looking at photos from the past 6 years. Our wedding, where David cried as I walked down the aisle. Our honeymoon in Costa Rica, where he held my hair when I got food poisoning. Random Tuesday nights on our couch, his arm around me, both of us looking content in a way I haven't felt in years. When did I stop seeing him? When did his steadfast love become boring instead of beautiful? When did I decide that being cherished wasn't enough? The other girls are awake now, gathering around with concerned faces and offers of coffee and Advil. They don't understand. How could they? They've never had someone love them the way David loved me. They've never had someone choose them again and again, even when they didn't deserve it. We should go out for brunch, Jess suggests. Get your mind off things. Then shopping, Mia adds. Retail therapy always helps. And tonight we'll hit that new club on Ocean Drive, Lindsay says. Show David what he's missing. I look at them, these women I've called my best friends, and realize I don't know them at all. Not really. I know their drink orders and their dress sizes and their latest romantic dramas, but I don't know their fears or their dreams or what makes them cry at 3 a.m. David knew all of those things about me, and I knew them about him. I'm going home, I announce. Don't be ridiculous, Lindsay says, as we have 2 more days. You can't let him ruin our trip. He didn't ruin anything. I did. I stand up. Decision made. There's a flight to Columbus in 3 hours. If I leave now, I can make it. This is what he wants, Jess argues. He wants you to come crawling back. No, I say, understanding finally hitting me. He wants me to leave him alone. He's done fighting for someone who won't fight for herself. I pack in record time, throwing designer dresses and regret into my suitcase. My friends try to talk me out of it, but their hearts aren't in it. They know, just like I know, that I don't belong here anymore. Maybe I never did. The Uber ride to the airport is quiet. The driver doesn't try to make conversation, sensing perhaps that I'm not in the mood for Miami small talk. I stare out the window at the city that promised escape, but delivered only destruction. At the airport, I try calling David one more time, straight to voicemail. His message is the same one he's had for years. Hi, you've reached David. If this is one of my students, remember your essay is due Monday. If this is anyone else, leave a message and I'll call you back. Have a great day. His voice, warm and friendly, and so achingly familiar, breaks something inside me. It's me, I say after the beep. I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I've ruined everything, but I need you to know that I remember now. I remember why I married you. You asked me once on our 2nd anniversary what my favorite memory of us was. I said it was our trip to New York because we stayed at that fancy hotel, but that was a lie. My favorite memory is from when we were dating. You came to pick me up for dinner and I was having the worst day. Everything had gone wrong at work. I'd gotten a parking ticket, and I just found out my dad needed surgery. I opened the door crying, mascara everywhere, and you didn't say a word. You just pulled me into your arms and held me. For 20 minutes, you just held me. And when I finally stopped crying, you looked at me, makeup destroyed, nose running, and said I was beautiful. That's when I knew I loved you. Not because you thought I was beautiful when I looked good, but because you thought I was beautiful when I was a mess. I've been a mess for so long now, David. And you kept holding me, kept telling me I was beautiful, kept loving me even when I was unlovable. I threw that away for nothing, for people who don't really know me, for a life that doesn't really exist. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. I know it doesn't matter now, but I needed you to know. You were never mediocre. You were extraordinary. I was just too stupid to see it. I hang up and turn off my phone before I can do something pathetic like call again. The flight home is turbulent. The metaphor is so obvious it would be funny if my life wasn't falling apart. I spend the entire 3 hours cataloging all the ways I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me. The time I forgot his birthday because I was planning a girls' weekend. The time I made fun of his students' thank you notes in front of my friends. The time I told him his dreams of starting a nonprofit were unrealistic. The time I rolled my eyes when he cried at his grandfather's funeral. Death by 1,000 cuts, all inflicted by me. When I land in Columbus, the familiar Ohio humidity hits me like a slap. This place I've spent so long trying to escape suddenly feels like home in a way Miami never could. The Uber driver takes me past all our spots. The park where David proposed. The restaurant where we had our first date. The school where he teaches, where he's probably grading papers right now, trying to lose himself in his students' potential rather than his wife's betrayal. Our house looks exactly the same from the outside. David's car in the driveway. The rose bushes he planted last spring blooming despite my neglect. The front door I've walked through 1,000 times, never appreciating the man waiting on the other side. I use my key one last time. Inside, the evidence of his pain is everywhere. Empty beer bottles on the coffee table. David hardly ever drinks. Our wedding photo turned face down on the mantel. A pile of tissues by his side of the couch. But it's the kitchen that breaks me. On the counter, ingredients for dinner. Chicken parmesan, my favorite. He was planning to cook for me tonight, even after everything. Even after the videos and the humiliation and the credit card charges. He was still planning to feed me. I walk through our house like a ghost, haunting the life I murdered, seeing it clearly for the first time in years. The faint scuff mark on the wall where we tried and failed to hang that oversized painting. The collection of ridiculous mugs we'd bought each other over the years. The walls covered in photos of our adventures, big and small. The bookshelf where his teaching awards sit next to my Employee of the Month certificates, equally celebrated. The closet where his one good suit hangs next to my dozens of dresses, never once complaining about the space I take up. In the garage, my things are neatly packed and labeled. Sam's clothes. Sam's books. Sam's decorations. Even in leaving me, he's taking care of me, making it easier, being the better person. I hear a car in the driveway and freeze. David's home. He walks in through the garage, sees me, and stops. He looks tired, older, like he's aged years in the 4 days I've been gone. Your flight isn't until tomorrow, he says quietly. I came home early. This isn't your home anymore. The words are gentle but final. He moves past me to the kitchen, starts putting away the dinner ingredients. You were going to cook, I observe. Habit, he says with a shrug. Hard to break after 6 years. David ... Please don't. Whatever you're going to say, please don't. I can't do this again. Then just listen. You don't have to say anything. Just let me... Let you what? Apologize? Promise to change? Beg for another chance? We've done this dance before, Sam, after Vegas, after Nashville. Each time you promise things will be different. Each time I believe you. Each time nothing changes. This time there's video evidence. This time our friends, my colleagues, my students' parents all got to watch my wife grind on a stranger. Do you know how many people have sent me the links? How many have asked if I'm okay? How many have looked at me with pity? The shame burns through me. I hadn't thought about that, about how public my betrayal was, about how many people saw me humiliate him. I'm sorry. I know you are. You're always sorry after. That's the pattern. You do something cruel. You feel bad, you apologize, I forgive you, and we pretend things will be different. But I can't pretend anymore. He finally looks at me, really looks at me, and I see it all in his eyes. The love that's still there, buried under layers of hurt. The exhaustion of trying to hold on to someone who doesn't want to be held. The relief that it's finally over. I need you to leave, he says. Can I ask you something first? He nods, resigned. Was I always like this? Or did I become this person? He considers the question carefully because that's who he is. Even now, even hurt, he wants to give me an honest answer. I think you were always both people, he says finally. The woman I fell in love with, and the woman you became. I just hoped love would be enough to tip the balance. I was wrong. You weren't wrong to love me. No, but I was wrong to love you more than you loved yourself. That never works. I want to argue, to tell him he's wrong, that I do love myself. But we both know that's a lie. People who love themselves don't destroy good things. They don't hurt kind people. They don't run from happiness because it feels too quiet. Where will you go? He asks. My sisters, probably. Until I figure things out. And your friends? I think about Lindsay and Mia and Jess, probably on their 4th round of mimosas by now, already turning my marriage into a cautionary tale about marrying too young, settling for too little, staying in Ohio. They're not my friends, I realize out loud. They never were. They're just people who enabled my worst self because it made them feel better about their own choices. That's a hard thing to realize. You were my friend. My best friend. And I treated you like an inconvenience. He doesn't deny it. Can't deny it. We both know it's true. I should go, I say. Yeah. I walk to the door, then turn back one last time. He's standing in our kitchen, surrounded by the life we built, looking lost and found at the same time. For what it's worth, I say, you're going to make someone very happy someday. Someone who sees you for the gift you are. Someone who appreciates your soup and your lesson plans and your terrible dance moves. Someone who knows that a mediocre life with the right person is worth more than all the VIP tables in Miami. I know, he says simply. I've always known. I was just waiting for you to know it too. I leave my key in the mailbox like he asked, load my boxes into my car, drive away from the house where I had everything and wanted more. At my sister's apartment in Cleveland, I unpack the boxes David so carefully labeled. Between my summer clothes, I find something that shouldn't be there. Our wedding album. A post-it note on the cover in David's neat handwriting. Thought you might want this. Remember the good times. D. I flip through pages of 2 people who thought they had forever. Who promised for better or worse. Who had no idea that sometimes the worst thing that can happen to a marriage isn't tragedy or hardship, but simply one person forgetting why they chose the other. My phone has been off since the airport. When I finally turn it on, there are dozens of messages. Most from the Miami crew, wondering where I went. A few from other friends who've seen the videos. One from my mother that just says, "Call me." But it's the last text that stops me cold. From David, sent an hour after I left. I hope you find peace, Sam. Despite everything, you deserve that. We both do. Even now, even broken, he's wishing me well. That's who he is. That's who I threw away. I delete Instagram, delete the group chats, delete the photos from Miami, delete everything that represents the person I became when I forgot who I was supposed to be. Tomorrow, I'll start the hard work. Therapy, apartment hunting, divorce papers, learning to live with the consequences of my choices. But tonight, I just sit with the truth. I had a husband who loved me unconditionally, who built a life with me brick by brick, who saw my worst self and loved me anyway. And I left him standing in our kitchen, still trying to feed me, because I thought I deserved more than the love he never stopped offering. Turns out, I deserved exactly what I gave: nothing.